Good morning. Today I would like to discuss about the term sustainability. The ability to sustain is sustainability. Today, in the whole world, one of the terms that everybody is looking at is sustainability. But are we really sustainable? Do we need sustainability? Why do only humans think so much about sustainability? And what is too much sustainability? These things are very important to understand. In the world, let us say there is a deer in a forest and there are some lions. So a lion needs a deer, say in a week or every fortnight or a month to sustain. But keeping in mind the term sustainability, the lion never catches all the deer at once. It will catch a deer only when it is hungry. A lion also knows that there could be a drought in the jungle, but still it will not catch all the deer and herd them together for its own needs. Because a deer also is dependent on other sustainable resources such as climate, water, soil, the kind of grass that eats, and many other things. So, based on those resources sustainability in a given space and in time, the survival of the deer is assured. So, the lion which is dependent on deer has to look into many other sustainable factors than the deer alone. So, in this way, the sustainability of a lion in a jungle, if there is a lion disappearing in a jungle, we say the resources in the forest are poor and they are not sustainable, right from the micro to macro, which all provide a kind of food chain and source of food for the lion. Therefore, a lion is never thinking the sustainability in the terms of a human being. If it was a human being, they would have definitely herded all the deer together and they would have been kept in captive and then they would have been eating them for few years. But a deer will be happy and deer will be thriving, deer will be populating only when it is given that freedom and it will be healthy too. But by keeping all the deer together, they would become sick, diseased, and they may not be so useful. Therefore, giving that freedom to the deer and a lion looking at sustainability in its freedom, that is more appropriate than making all the deer extinct first before the lion extincts. That's what we are doing now. All the species on this earth, every year, many are being extinct, are just disappearing, are endangered because of the concept of sustainability of human beings. Even a cell level, the cells in the brain are also dying. But how do they sustain the memory? They give the memory to the next cells. That's how we remember things which happened long back, although those cells are no more existing in our brain. Another important thing is the gene. The concept of population or giving birth is basically to transfer that gene from one being to the next. This we understood and also understand in the concept of selfish gene. In that context, say a politician has amassed wealth. Today the politicians are looking at sustaining their own gene for generations together. Some of the politicians are not concerned about the sustainability of resources, the state and a nation. They are too selfish of their own sustainability and their gene sustainability, and even selling the lands of a state. So therefore, it appears that people are living in a rented nation or state rather than in their own country or nation. This situation has been created because the government has even given up the roads to private organizations to maintain, run everything, so nobody can walk on those roads freely. They have to pay toll tax. Similarly, nobody can stay in their home just like that. They have to pay some tax. Like that, we have become in our own country or in our own states more dependent with less freedom than any other living thing other than human beings, which don't need to pay any tax or need not bother on how to live much as we are concerned now. Similarly, sustaining the ability is a concept being taught since about 40-50 years. Why it has come into existence? There was a need to conserve our resources. The resource utilization conservation is more important in any sustainability. There is so much pollution, environmental degradation, climate change, and many other things happening globally. All these things are a result of non-sustainability and also the concept of too much sustainability through selfish goals of few individuals, and especially the rich and the super rich. The people's wants and needs should be simply the people's wants and needs should be simple and always apt, never should have the greed, and one is here as a custodian, as a trustee to look after the resources, use with minimum utility, then leave on for the future generations. But this is not happening. The nations especially some of the nations, the military budget is so high, then they can do hardly any development, and it is always increasing. Why so much unrest is going on globally? Why so many people are being killed every day by the governments or the terrorists killing the civilians or the people who are not happy with the government? So many things are happening globally. All these are the reflection of why and how the things are not moving in a sustainable path. A human being's life, say in a day, a person wakes up, takes a bath, and also tries to look good through makeup. That person wants to sustain this situation, say few hours. At the end of the day, they think they are not looking good. So for looking good, human beings only have invested some time and resources than any other being on this earth. That way, every action, everything that one does is also for this kind of sustenance, which is of short time, but the things like food, where in the cold countries, some of the animals store it underground. That sustainability is to just live for that harsh period of 4 or 5 months, and some have adopted to hibernation, that is sleeping and making its heartbeat very low, and with minimum calories they can sustain and come over that period. But for the human beings, eating 3 times a day has become a norm, and wastage of resources is also very common. People eat less, waste more, even having additional calories which are not required for the body. Why one should take and do so much exercise to waste it again? One could have eaten the minimum and would have been healthy. Therefore, even if we take the photograph or the group photo of a group of people, we see different sizes and shapes. For any other animal which is watching, the human beings coming in package of different sizes and shapes is very strange. It is very strange for them, because in all other animals there is a similarity. That similarity is a reflection of equity. That similarity is a reflection of sharing. They almost look all the ducks in a flock. They are similar. Why they are sharing? They are eating only that much that is required and they look like a duck. But human beings in different geographies, in different times, because of rich, poor, and discrimination based on caste, color, creed, there is so much variation that happened over centuries. Marriages are based on wealth nowadays, not based on the health. How can they sustain the children who are not born so healthy throughout if two couples are not healthy? This concept is not existing. Similarly, one should be able to sustain the mental health also. Mind is more younger than the body. Why the body is becoming old before the mind? Because human focus is not as much as on the body than the mind. At one age, the logical thinking of a human being is not much. And we also see, especially the old people, losing the memory too. This is because each cell in our body has a length of ability to sustain, and that is birth rebirth of a cell of a number of cycles only. After that, everything becomes weak and old. Similarly, sustainability is not forever. It is a cycle like death. One cannot be living forever. Therefore, what one has the right that in the name of sustainability exploit all the resources and cause so much destruction because the resources created on the earth are not just for one human being alone. They are for the sharing of everything and establishing an equilibrium and balance. Say there is an appetite as a rock. This is being exploited for agriculture because phosphorus is an important thing in agriculture. For the greed of human beings and in the name of sustainability and food security, people are cultivating using highly intensive chemicals and fertilizers. But the Appetite winds are limited in nature. They are meant for generations. They are meant for centuries and millions of years as a resource to sustain not just food crops. As part of erosion, they would form part of the soil in the process, and they would have sustained the biotic life over millions of years. Now that is exploited by human beings, and there will be very less availability in the nature. Then how the biotic life would sustain? All the mining activities on the earth crust, any mineral that is exploited, they are part of the natural cycles of formation of soil, the water cycle, the biotic cycles, the microbial cycles, and many other things. Therefore, one could see such kind of imbalances happening already. If one country is producing a good so cheap, there are so many factors to be understood. That is at the cost of its own environment, at the cost of unsustainability of its resources, or exploiting the human labor, or because of policies existing there, or because of the environmental conditions. There could be many factors. But in reality, the human greed of commerce and marketing, the environment of a space is highly degraded, destructed. But those who buy those goods, they never see this embodied energy, ecological footprint when they consume those goods. Therefore, every citizen should be conscious about the sustainability and should lead a simple life without much exploitation of resources for a better earth and for the future generations of biotic, abiotic, and also human beings. Thank you.